Yeah, good morning, children. Welcome back. Today we are going to connect with a new topic: national liberation movements in the colonies. How the national liberation movements which are started there in the colonies, that we are going to discuss here. As you know that, if you look at the world map, like Europe, Africa, North America, South America, entire Asia, Australia, Antarctica. So in these, how the Europeans they made their colonies to be entered. So what it says means how the Europeans made their entry. So basically the first what you have to know means first industrial revolution. Industrial revolution is nothing but instead of manpower, machine power came to use. Instead of manpower, machine power came to use. So for this industrial revolution, what we need? Raw materials we need. So the people they started searching or wandering from one place to another place in search of raw materials. So ultimately, with manpower was replaced with machine power. So ultimately, what happened means the production was enhanced and we are getting maximum production. So when production became more, then ultimately the requirement of employment or the workers' requirement also enhanced. So all these are only the thing what it says, especially related to one what we call industrial revolution. Instead of manpower, machine power came to use. So all the European nations they started competing themselves to make colonizing. So in these Great Britain, France, Holland, all these are the nations from Europe. They have come over here in the name of one what we call trade. So all these are the importance what it related are said to be known about Europeans, and their with their intention. What is that means? As you know that throughout the whole world, the Christianity which they started spreading off. So with that intention, spread of Christianity through a true gospel. So such type of preachings which they started, and historians what they say this word as white man's burden. So these are the things with which how the changes which has been made all over the world with the entry of the Europeans. That what it says. As you know that Vasco da Gama who discovered sea route to India. So among all these, when you see here, when you compare to all these nations, China was quite separate and isolated. It never allowed to have a trade contacts with British colonial. As we have already learned in previous opium wars. In the first opium war, China was victorious, but coming to the second opium war, in which China was defeated in the hands of British. So due to that, slowly or forcibly they made trade contacts between China and as well as British, and with which the entry was made. So that is what we are discussing about the one what we call about the China here. So there in this, China, as you know that, it is the world populous country with the slogan one or none. But what happened before that? Here, great importance about the China, Great Wall of China, and these names of dynasties will be quite different. Qing Chang Chou, Zhou Yinlei, Sung Dynasty, Ming Dynasty, Tang Dynasty, all these are the Chinese names. So here, a dynasty which was ruled over here called, and the Great Wall of China was built by Shu Guangdi, a great emperor. So here the Manchu dynasty which was started ruling over there China around 20th century with the influence of these Western colonial powers. Nothing but the emperors were ruling in the name of one what we call Manchu dynasty, but they were administered under the control of Western colonial powers. So from such type of clutches, how these Chinese have to be safeguarded, how they have to be free. So these are the things what it says about the one what we call Manchu dynasty. Then what the Chinese people are thinking means, one or the other way, the Western colonial powers have to be eliminated. When they leave China, then only China will get liberation. With that intention, the people of China were eagerly waiting. So, at that time, the one who came only a new ideology. What does that mean? Establishing the republic in China. So, with that intention, in 1911, the one who was started thinking of China, how to make China to develop, how to eliminate such type of Manchu dynasty, in what manner Chinese people will be happy. So such type of ideology and thoughts which they started thinking of that, at that moment a new person or a person named called Sun Yat-sen. Sun Yat-sen, who is known as the father of modern China or the founder of modern China. So what is his ideology, what is his intention? He was born in the year 1866 and he was no more in the year 1925. So what is his idea means? He was born in a poor family, but he got his education in Christian missionary schools. And what was his ideology? Though he got medicine, but his fate turned towards Chinese. And what is his intention means? Right from the beginning he got a concept, some or the other thing I have to do for the China. So with that intention, he started making the principles of democracy and as well as Christianity. So these are the things with which what Sun Yat-sen trying to do something better for the China. So here he started three important principles. In Chinese languages, what we call it as Sun Min Chu. Nothing but nationalism, democracy, socialism. Nationalism is nothing but uniting the nations together. How to unite the nations together? That what we call the word nationalism. And coming to the next, what we call democracy. Instead of like dictatorship or kingship, they are introducing the one what we call democracy, nothing but people's rule. Next, what we call socialism. To eliminate the gap between the rich and poor and to treat all the people equality basis. So that is what they have started, the one what we call socialism. And with all these three important principles, Sun Yat-sen has designed or planned. What is his ideology means? To eliminate such type of Western colonial masters who are making influence over there in this China. They have to leave. So, but what happened at last means he was unable to defeat them. He is the person who was defeated in the hands of military power, or otherwise what we call them as warlords. He tried to do, but he was failure. He was unable to do that. That is what it says regarding the one Sun Yat-sen. Coming to the next, what we call 4th May 1919, or otherwise what we call May 4th movement in the year 1919. So as we know that about as previously what we have discussed in previous topics related to First World War, Second World War. So as just now what I said, China being isolated, especially initial stage, but only after the defeat in Opium War, then it was tie up with this British and forcibly they have been made trade contacts. So what was the importance of this May 4th movement here means nothing but the Chinese territories which are occupied by Japan. So this is what the Versailles, the people of Chinese, they are protesting there regarding the Treaty of Versailles, what they have been made, how they lost the importance of Chinese with making only to run what we call Japan. How these Japanese they came and occupied over the Chinese region to get back the territories. What I want to say you, what I want to make you clear, the Chinese territories which are there under the control of Japan, Chinese are trying to get it back. That what the movement is nothing but what we call May 4th movement in protest. And Chinese, what was the thing which they started here means like nationalism, democracy, socialism and uniting of all the people, and few dynasties which we have seen like Manchu dynasty which has been overthrown. Some rules and regulations was very tough and difficult. Even some of them were not allowing to grow up their feet and like what we call food binding. So such type of cruel practices which they started making, and there is no liberalism for the people of Chinese. And what happened the next, that is what we are going to discuss. That is what we call after Republic. So what was the next here, as just now what we are saying about the establishment of Republic in China. So the new parties came into existence. What is that called? The Kuomintang. The Kuomintang, otherwise called the National People's Party. I repeat, the Kuomintang, the National People's Party, called as Kuomintang, or otherwise KMT, and Chinese Communist Party. So here what I want to make it clear is that Kuomintang is also known as National People's Party, or otherwise called as Kuomintang. These are the one and the same. You may call Kuomintang, you may call National People's Party, or you may call Kuomintang. So what was the next which was happened over here means KMT CCP, Kuomintang, Chinese Communist Party, both were united together, or both emerged and unified as one. And what was the main intention of this KMT was only to follow the one what we call Sun Yat-sen principles. And in these, what are the four important things which they have been started giving the priority is food, the first importance, next clothing, second importance, third shelter, the next transportation. So these are the four important things which was designed or followed by Kuomintang based upon Sun Yat-sen principles. What are they means? Food, clothing, shelter, transportation. So with this ideology, with this intention, here after the death of Sun Yat-sen, Chiang Kai-shek took the charge and he tried to make modern China. But what happened under the leadership of Chiang Kai-shek, or the presidentship of Chiang Kai-shek, when he was born in the year 1887, he was no more in the year 1975. So Chiang Kai-shek who introduced the one what we call Kuomintang party. So with this Kuomintang, he want to eliminate the one what we call warlords. Warlords he don't want to see back again there in this China. Warlords have to be eliminated, or otherwise what we call regional military powers. So with that ideology, with that intention, Chiang Kai-shek, what was the next he was planning means only to have a military nation, habit and instinct in unified behavior. So that is what he was planning. What was the situation? What was the condition? In industrial sector, working hours are more. Urbanization was not yet seen. People were very tough and unbearable conditions where they are living. So keeping that in mind, he tried to eliminate such type of problems. So what things he has been made here, especially under this Chiang Kai-shek with taking the support of KMT, nothing but Kuomintang. First he started making industrial growth. Industrial growth in the sense nothing but all the industries to develop. Industrialization, industrial revolution, instead of manpower, machine power came to use. That is the first step. And not only that, in the year 1990, around about 5 lakhs of the workers where they are able to find over there the modern cities like Shanghai. So all these are the modern industries where he started developing. Why? What was the reason? Means the people no way should die because of starvation. People should not be seen poverty. Elimination of starvation and poverty, for that industrialization growth has begun. And in that particularly modern industrialization of the modern industries like shipbuilding, Shipbuilding was also the main what they have been made, and in this Chinese language is what we call Zioshimin, nothing but petty urbanites or the urban cities, rapid growth of cities and towns, otherwise called urbanization. So all these are the things with which he has been made, and not only that, he introduced the one what we call Peking University. Education related to school, colleges, universities is also mandatory requirement. People should have awareness. So with that, then they started off new subjects like journalism, thinking new, a radical change where people are expecting over here. All these couple of years where they have been suffered a lot, all these have to be eliminated, and they have to get back what? Like free, without any pressure. Hardships have to be eliminated. People should have their employment, and elimination of poverty, starvation. With that intention, these are the concepts, these are the programs where he has brought, and that was the new thinking which was started. And when we talk about Chiang Kai-shek, what was his style, what was his ideology? Means conservative, and he encouraged for the women. And what he has been said, as we know that hemliness, like a frock where they completely covered. So some cruel practices, as I said for you before, like what we call foot binding. So all these are the things, and the main intention of this Chiang Kai-shek, especially related to 4 virtues. What are the first called? Chastity. The woman, whether she is interested to get married, so she have to take the decision, and she have to be stick up for that decision. And not only that, appearance, how they have to be appear, the appearance, like how to look. Not only that, the third virtue is speech, how they have to speak, in what manner they have to be. And the fourth one is work. These are the 4 virtues Chiang Kai-shek has introduced, especially to make all the women to be followed, like chastity, appearance, speech, work. So all these are the things in one or the other way to eliminate such type of long struggle where the industrial workers used to suffer under the masters, like colonial masters also we can say that. To eliminate that, and all the people should get liberated from such type of clutches of European masters. That is the reason what we call national liberation movements in the colonies. People have to be free. Like as you know that how India was there under the British rule, even China was also ruled by the Western colonial powers. To eliminate such type of rulers, here all these are the long struggles. So a major plan which was planned by Sun Yat-sen, what is that means? To control of capital and also to equalize the land. But here these things are unable to do that. They are failure in implementation. Planning was there, but coming to implementation, that became a big task, and it was failure. And here it only imposed military orders. They are making only the one like what we call military orders, so only on that military they are focusing rather than addressing the problems of people. Actually, what people are facing, what are their needs and requirements, they are unable to focus. Rather than that, they have focused only on the military orders. These are the things which was introduced by Chiang Kai-shek. Okay, coming to the next, what we are going to discuss about the one part, the rise of Communist Party of China. How the Communist Party came into existence, what things have happened over there in this China, let you know in detail. As you know that Japanese invaded China in the year 1937. So 1937 to 1945, Japan invaded China, as we know that. So in this connectivity, what things are happened? What was the turmoil condition of China? In what manner the disastrous situation which the people has witnessed because of this Japanese invading of China? Here especially the duration from 1945 to 49. The year 1945 to 49, 30% of the prices were hiked per month. Every month the price has enhanced, increasing 30%. And here what was the condition, especially when we talk about China, rural in the sense like village area, most of the problems where they have been faced here, especially which are witnessed about the two. One is ecological soil exhaustion, deforestation, floods. Environmental protection to be made, what we have to maintain is ecological balance. But this ecological balance has become imbalancing. Like soil exhaustion, like soil erosion. The fertility of the soil which is loosed. That was the situation. Deforestation. Deforestation means in an area where the trees are grown, where they started cutting off, clearing of the land and making the use for playground or some or the other purpose what they have been made. Deforestation. Floods, excess of water, more water, with which what happened, the growing agricultural field or otherwise what we call the standing crops has fallen down. So all these are only the first impact what it says for ecological soil exhaustion, deforestation and as well as floods. And next what we call socio-economic problems, especially the one what we call land tenure. What was the situation which was existing there in that China, particularly related to these landlords? They themselves are enjoying more rent from the peasant, giving the land for rent, and even the production also they have to be paid. So such type of systems which they practiced over there, land tenure, indebtedness, and most of the peasants, whoever they are there in this rural China, their condition become very miserable, unbearable condition. They are asking some or the other money and investing over there, but the result is zero. So that leads to what? Indebtedness. And what was the situation? Primitive technology. Initially they started making of techniques and poor communication. So all these are the situation which they have witnessed, and that was the worst situation where the rural China was experienced. These are the things what they are describing very clearly regarding how the Chinese they suffered. And at that moment, the CCP in the year 1921. So nothing but the Chinese Communist Party came into existence in the year 1921 after the end of Russian Revolution. RR is nothing but Russian Revolution. After the end of this Russian Revolution, Lenin who was coming, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, shortly we call Lenin, he introduced the one what we call Comintern in March 1918. So what are his ideologies? What he was trying to express means only the one what we call Marxist ideas. So with these Marxist ideas, he want to make something in favor of China, to make the people to be free from such type of clutches. So at that time, he is the person who was coming, Mo Zedong, 1893 to 1976. He became a major leader of CCP. And what was his ideology? What he was trying to do for China? What he want to make here means he started a radical approach. Mo Zedong has made a radical approach, and what he was trying to do means the peasants, whoever they are landless, the peasants who are working under their masters, he united all these people and he started making Jiangxi mountain in the year 1928 to 39. So that what he was trying to make a strong peasant council, nothing but what we call them as Soviets. So all the peasants have to be get beneficiary. With that intention, Mo Zedong, what he has been made all his ideology and principles, and not only that, even he encouraged for the women, like no pressure, no force, to whom they are willing, they can get marriage, no question of sale of marriages or contract marriages were there in those days. These all things are eliminated. Homeliness, like food binding, whatever the cruel practices which they practiced over there in this China, all these are the things which they have been eliminated. As just before what we have seen, Chiang Kai-shek, 4 virtues which he has been given for women: chastity, appearance, speech, work. So in such a manner, even Mo Zedong also started encouraging for the women. And not only that, with all these, he started a one what we call Long March, that is in the year 1934 to 35, around about 6,000 miles over there in Shanxi. Around about 6,000 miles he started his Long March. like making a move on the foot. So that all are the credit where that belongs to only one, what is his name called, Mo Zedong. And not only that, the main twin agenda of the Mo Zedong is only the one land reform and as well as nationalization. To get a new reformation, peasants should not suffer under the masters. Peasants should not be there under the colonials. Peasants should not suffer because of land. So all these elimination of such type of in our country, what we have seen, zamindars, jagirdars or pretenders, these people have to be eliminated. Same things what he has been tried to make all this and nationalizing the new ideology for China, the people to get better. But when Japan invaded China in the year 1937 and 45, what was the thing with which what we have experienced? All these are the information just now what we have seen. What was the condition? One, ecological soil exhaustion, deforestation and floods, and socio-economic land tenure, indebtedness, primitive technology and poor communication. So these are the things with which at last a CCP leader Mo Zedong, who was successful to rule over the mainland of China. But here, Kuomintang, they have been set up forcibly. They have been set up a government there at Taiwan. So that what it has been made an end related to one what we have discussed regarding Mo Zedong. Okay, establishing the new democracy in 1949 to 1954. So how this Republic of China started in the year 1949, especially with one what we call new democracy, opposing of landlordism and imperialism, as they don't want to see landlordism and as well as imperialism. So due to that, this is what they have been introduced a new ideology what we call new democracy in the year 1949, that with the intention of Republic of China. And here the main important thing is that land to the landless people, nothing but landless peasants, whoever they are there, without possessing the land, for them the land have to be get beneficial. That with that intention, this is the program which was launched in what we call Landless Prison to get the land and enact the laws to protect women. Not only that, abolition of polygamy, the laws which are in favor of women and abolition of polygamy. Polygamy means one man marrying various wives. Like in those days, the kings and the history, if you see that, they have various wives. That was the system. Like female infanticide, polygamy. So these are the things. But here it was completely eliminated. That was banned over here. And not only that, like vice versa, like men and women to be treated equally. Nothing but what we call equality of men and women. So all these are only the new ideology they started introducing with one what we call the introducing of one word what we call new democracy. So it's ultimately what it says means people's rule. People are welcoming and they want to follow this type of rules and regulation. And what changes are made here, especially the one what we call land reforms which they introduced in the year 1950 and 51. Especially, as I said just earlier, land to the landless people are the peasants, and in this nearly around about 10 to 20 lakh individuals are getting benefit, and in which nearly around about 43% of the China's cultivated land was redistributed to 60% of the people of China. So this is what the old system has eliminated. A new elite class or nothing but the middle class, where it became beneficiary. So such type of progress, such type of development, such type of things where the Chinese are enjoying, and at the same time they started introducing of one what we call literacy and as well as political education. People should have all-round development. So with that ideology, with that new intention, these are the things with which they started making, like introducing of primary schools, and not only that, even young and adults also, where they can get literacy, where they can able to read and write, and even the great scholars, they agreed for whatever the decision which was taken, especially introducing of one what we call land reforms, because how they used to suffer under their masters, they were very free from the clutches of masters, and everyone, like as what we say, land to the tiller, whoever they are possessing the land, they enjoyed, and whatever the wrong records, whatever the documents where they have been focused on the people, they started burning with aggressive manner. Like to make you clear, suppose if the peasant need 1 lakh of rupees when he go to, let us assume, one zamindar. So zamindar, what he was making the peasant to write there means, instead of 1 lakh, he has written 2 lakhs. And anyway, this peasant is illiterate, he can't read, he can't write. Then what will be the impact? Only the thumb impression. So with that also, like the people, they cheated to peasants. And meanwhile, what happened? These peasants are getting indebtedness. Like 2 lakhs, he have to pay the actual amount, and for that he have to pay the interest. With that, where he has been faced overburden. But after that, when they introduce all this, they have been eliminated all this. People are aggressive, they burn all that records, all the fake. Actual given amount is one, like they are literally they are writing two, but they can't read, they can't write. If you show the documents to any other people also, what they say, already it is mentioned 2 lakhs, so you have to pay. So all these things, they were cheated by these zamindars over there in this way. The people, they were back of their own lands. That's what they are happy with introducing. Scholars appreciated for land reforms and universalization of education. That is the reason even they have to have minimum education where they can able to read and write. So that's what it was a great progress, great success over here. Universalization of education and Chinese Communist Party, which became a single rule, and there is only the supreme leaders like what we call or follow the one what we call chairman. And that what they have been given, all the power was only as a powerful. What they followed as one what we call chairman, and no opposition was there over there. And now Chinese were happy, they have their own land. Now people are making agriculture. Now they can utilize their lands, and they are making multi-cropping system or whatever the agricultural work which are related to them. People were happy at last with all these struggles. Now China, they were happy. These all things what it says about the past history, what we have learned about knowing about establishing the new democracy, and as well as land reform movements which was started over there in China. That was the end of the China.